But this was unbelievable. There were hordes of children, hordes of them. Welcome back.
Welcome.
Happy Tuesday to all of our turkeys out there in the great wide web.
I wanted you to say Turkeyverse.
Oh, you keep one upping me with the intros.
I'm sorry.
Don't ever stop. This is literally the point of having a friend.
Oh my gosh.
I laid a foundation and then you built on it.
Exactly.
And to build on it has to be better. So that's what we're doing. Turkeyverse?
Yes. So welcome to our little corner of the Turkeyverse.
Oh my god. This week. Well, I think that this week we should start off with a bump date because I think it's been a little bit since we've done that and you're progressing along.
It has. I'm at 31 weeks, which just feels like 40 is right around the corner. But no, it's been good. I'm feeling good, living my best pregnancy life, like being in my little Zen bubble. Definitely having some aches and pains, but I did learn something funny and / interesting this week on Instagram, which, you know, you just take these things with a grain of salt, but I feel like it's real. They were doing an ultrasound on a mother and they were trying to see like what the baby would do while she was laughing. I'll have to go back and find it so we can post it on social media this week because it is honestly just cracks me up. But the mom's laughing and the baby's literally like, it looks like there's like a little earthquake inside, like just jiggling and shaking, but like in a not like a shaking baby syndrome way, in like a, I think they're just reacting to exactly. So that was interesting, and it looked a little stressful, but then I was researching, and that at this point, it's been a while now, but at this point in the pregnancy, like the baby can feel like sense when I'm laughing, or can hear my voice, can like understand that I'm touching my belly, like almost like we're interacting with each other. It's the craziest thing. Like I can kind of move my belly around a little bit and then he'll start kicking. So it's like we're telepathically talking to each other. It's the weirdest thing, but I love it.
So fun. Have you noticed him react to anything like Kenny's voice or music?
Sometimes, yeah. It's not like every single time. I think the most times that I'm getting a reaction is if I'm laying in a certain position to get him to move, or if if one of us is touching or kind of like lightly poking my belly or talking to him. My mom came over and she got up in my belly and she was like, "Hi, Grant." Like she called him potentially the name we're going to go with, but I'll save that because we're not sure yet. She was like, "Hi, this is your Grammy." And immediately he started kicking and responding. That was kind of the moment where I was like, oh shoot, like I think he can actually hear us and could potentially be responding actually to hearing his future grandma's voice. So
I love that.
I know, it was really sweet.
I'm glad that you live by your parents so they can experience some of this stuff with you.
Yeah, my dad and mom got to feel him kick last week, so that was special.
I love that.
Yeah. But other than that, again, if you hear me breathing loudly, it's just because things are getting smushed around, but it's fine. Everything's fine.
Go. It is crazy. Like how all your organs move around and then what it takes like a year for them to go back.
I think so, roughly. I think it's like 9 to 12 months, yeah.
So nuts.
Women's bodies, man.
I know.
Or just biology in general, I guess.
It's true. Tell me what tea you have.
It's the only tea I'm drinking because it's the one that I have to drink. Well, it's not really I have to, but it's dandelion, nettle, I almost forgot, and raspberry leaf.
Tell me what it's good for.
Nettle is apparently, I think, supposed to be good for, I want to say iron or fiber or something. Um, Raspberry leaf tea is supposed to soften and open up your cervix, like prepare
Oh.
for opening it up. And dandelion, I think, is for. Shoot, now you caught me off guard. I wasn't prepared.
I mean, I know for normal world dandelion is like a liver detox, but I don't know
That's
if
what it
that's
is.
okay.
No, that's exactly what it is because everything's working overtime, so it's to help keep you. I think it's to help like preeclampsia or anemia, one of those two.
There you go.
Either way, it's a good combination because if at least I have 3 flavors in here, then it's not so bad.
What does the leaf of a raspberry taste like?
Not much. I mean,
Like a
I've had it.
leaf?
It doesn't really. I don't know how to even describe what tea tastes like. It's just so nothing to me. it's just. It's just weird tasting water.
I don't know what mine is. I know it's by Numi, but I think it's rose hip and something, and I wanted it to be really floral, and no offense, Numi, but this does not have a lot of flav.
That's sad.
I know, but I bought it, so here we are. Anyhow, I have questions for you now that,
yes.
unless you have any other bump date
No.
recordings. Okay.
I think that's it for now.
Okay. Oh, I was thinking about this the other day. So I'm having hair confusion. And let me start by saying I had the best person for hair ever. Her name was Brooke. I don't know if she wants me to say her last name, even though that's like her business name. But she did my hair for my wedding. Not only did she do a great job at hair, but she's just so nice. I admired her family story. I enjoyed talking to her. I mean, when you're getting your hair cut and you're sitting there for an hour, if it's a draining personality, it can be a real drain.
1000%. Yep.
And obviously, I'm going to spend money. It's somebody's business. Like, I'm going to pay them for the service that they deserve to be paid for. But I do kind of prefer when I like what I'm buying, or I feel good about where my money's going, I guess. I don't know. She was just such a sweet, kind person. Anyway, her and her husband moved further east, too far for me to drive, to open up their own like salon out in a fancier neighborhood. And I'm so happy for her and so bitter for myself. And it's been like 9 months and I haven't gone and gotten my hair done again because I don't know where to go.
That's hard.
Because one of my friend's brothers has always owned a salon, I think, up in North Carolina, and he's opening one down here, but it's downtown. And also he's like the owner of the business. So, and he's been doing it forever. So he deserves to charge downtown business owner prices. I can't afford downtown business owner prices as much as I would love to give him my money. And then I know he's probably going to hire people, but I don't know if I can afford downtown prices or want to afford downtown prices. And then, but I don't want to go to Fantastic Sam's, no offense.
Is that the name of it?
That's the one that was always in Walmart, I think.
I'm thinking of
And Cost Cutters.
Cost Cutters and yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
And I don't even think they're down here, but I don't know. I don't know how to find a hair person. So my hair is just getting longer and longer and longer, and I don't want to cut it short, but I mean, we're approaching a lifestyle change with the length of my hair. And it really got me wondering, like, at what point does my long hair look like a religious mandate instead of me just trying to have long hair?
Oh my gosh. I wouldn't have ever thought about that.
Now it's all I think about. I mean, I have a tattoo and like I wear booby shirts, so you're probably not going to think that.
If you
But
if you wore like a denim skirt and your hair was touching your butt, then I think there would be some questions.
I know. It's like, what's the point? Because we're like, let me feel this out. We're probably, depending on how high of a waistband my pants have, we're a couple inches from my waistline in
I
the
feel
back.
I feel like it's like not just waistband, it's like butt crack start. Like the butt.
Yeah, there is something about it like swishing over the top of your cheeks that has a real Warren Jeffs sort of vibe to it. But I was thinking about, I mean, I have like some layers built in,
Mm-hmm.
although they're fading. So maybe that helps because it looks like I've at least had a style at some point in my life versus just letting it, grow as the Lord placed it.
Do you feel these on the days that you wear like your like particular outfits at work?
Yeah, my social work outfits or my Sunday school outfits. I feel it strongly. And I sometimes want to go all in and just do a single braid all the way down. So it just connects base of skull to butt crack.
Hey, if you still have this long hair for Halloween, you know what you could do for Halloween.
Holy shit. I'll be a Pentecostal.
And it's not hating on anything. It's just like it's. I didn't realize your hair was that long.
I'm hating on a few things. That's fine. I don't want to be told what to do. That's what
Hey,
I'm hating on. Which I guess is why I'm not in any of those religions. I think there is something to the shape and the scraggliness of the ends that also indicates that you haven't had it cut for a religious purpose. And I'm not quite there yet, but we're nigh approaching. And, there is something to like the bun or the braid.
or the
All I can
scrunchie.
think of, yes, the scrunchie. All those scrunchies are cool, apparently.
Yes.
I can just think of one person in our school growing up, and I don't think that it was a religious choice for her. I think she just was kind of goofy and grew her hair out. But all I can think about was how she had a lot of hair and like thick hair, but shit was rat tail thin at the bottom of her braid.
So my question is, for a religious aspect, do you know if it's not you're not allowed to cut it at all? Like, is that the
Yeah, I
rule?
think it's like no cutting your hair.
Interesting. Well, that makes sense why it's like that at the ends.
Because there's a Bible verse somewhere that says a woman's hair is her crown of glory, and some guy, pause for cynicism, some guy that was really into hair decided this isn't just a nice poem speaking of how like beautiful a woman's hair is. This is apparently God telling women they're not allowed to cut their hair.
It's always someone taking things out of context and pushing the
I mean,
buttons.
I can't read ancient Hebrew or Greek, but the last time I checked, there was nowhere in the Bible that said, "Dear women, don't cut your hair. Love God." And also for those listening, I've read the Bible cover to cover 3 times. So this isn't just like pull out my ass time. In multiple versions. So suck my dick.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting though. I feel like you just need to bite the bullet and try to find a hairdresser. None of your friends out there can refer you to somebody?
I don't have friends. No, I do. I've actually talked to specific friends about this, and we are all in this weird in between pickle.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom and I used to go to the same hair person. I forget where she started going. I don't know. Brooke gave me a referral, and I forgot who it was, so I probably just need to message her again and make an appointment with her. There's a woman's hair at our favorite brewery, shout out Pensacola Bay. Her hair's amazing. It's like Farrah Fawcett bangs, and like her hair always looks so good. And I've asked her now too many times where she gets her hair cut that I can't ask again. Because I think she may have even have sent me her contact information, and I can't find the text messages in my thread. I'm so embarrassed.
Oh no.
I know. So that's too shameful. And my coworkers don't live on my side of town, so their referrals are not helpful, and there's a significant age gap between half of us. I guess I haven't asked one of them where she gets her haircut, but she's not that. I don't know. I don't think she's that familiar with the area either.
Sorry, when you were talking about you feel shameful that you can't ask again, it reminded me of how I have hearing problems. And so when clients or even people I know, I have to say what about 3 times. And then the fourth time, I can't say what again. So I'm just, yeah, wow,
I
yeah,
know.
wow, yeah. And hopefully it
You
sounds okay.
Hopefully, it's not someone telling you the cat died or
I know.
something.
But
Haha, so funny.
it's true though. Finding a good hairdresser is like finding a good nail tech and also finding a good therapist. I know those are all in different categories, but like self-help situations, you gotta like trust your person and your people, right? It's
Well,
like
yeah,
a
and it's
big
kind of like
commitment.
intimate.
Yeah.
Dude, one time I just like on a willy-nilly whim went to a salon and got my hair cut, and the only person available was a guy, and I was like, that's fine. Bias alert, he was straight, and I wasn't okay with it. I just didn't like a straight guy touching my hair, and you know why? He touched my hair like a straight guy.
Mm, I
There's
know
a
what you mean.
difference. It was just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was robotic and weird, and he very nice man. He cut my hair just fine, but he touched my hair like my 8th grade dance date touched my shoulders, and it made me so uncomfortable.
That is the perfect representation. It just made me think exactly of how he did it.
Ugh. Well, so I
Hair
don't. And
man.
then this is the other thing that I will not do. I hate those salons that have like that tiered system. So it's like the basic stylist and advanced and then the masters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like arbitrary things that they promote
Mm-hmm.
into after a certain number of months working there. And then they just upcharge everybody. Because I've gone to a few of those. And I'm like, this is a goddamn racket. I came in here thinking I was going to get charged $75 for my haircut. And then the next time I come see you, it's like, oh, I got promoted. It's 125. I'm like, bitch, that should be for incoming clients.
Yeah, that's shitty.
I should get to pay the starting price. And also, I did that the one time, and she cut like 4 more inches off my hair than I wanted her to because she just kept cutting, and I could feel her nervousness because I think she couldn't get shit to be even. I've had some weird experiences.
You need to find like a lady. With my haircut is very particular, so I've been blessed to have two really good hair dressers or hairstylists, and both of them I trusted with my life.
I just need to bite the bullet and just ask her the name of her stupid person again.
Mm-hmm.
And just like look it up online while I'm sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know what else I did that's embarrassing? I couldn't remember her name, and I'd already known her like 500 years. And this is one of the times I asked her the name of her hairstylist. So she was going to text it to me. And so I was going to put her number in my phone. And then I do this what I think is a really clever trick when I don't know someone's name to be like, oh, how do you spell it? Her name was Jennifer.
I was just going to tell you that I do that with my clients at work. And I just did that recently to somebody, and they were like, Ben. I'm like, oh, shoot. Oh, shoot, that didn't work. I was like, okay, well, I didn't know if it was like Benjamin or like Ben, or I just had to like, oh, it was so awkward.
I know. I think when I said that to her, I was like, oh, I meant your last name.
Oh, okay, nice save.
I mean, it felt like a pretty good save, but my insides turned into liquid and were ready to come out of my butthole. I was so embarrassed.
Oh my god.
How do you spell it? I think actually before that too, I was like, oh, well, my name's spelled weird, so you never know. I'm like, shut up, Kaylee. Jason and I have an agreement for name forgetting where if we don't like introduce the name of like, oh, this is so and so, this is my husband Jason, if we lead into it as oh, hey, this is my husband, Jason, it's immediately known that you're to then, like,
It's his
actually,
responsibility to ask.
yeah. Or what
Yeah.
we'll do is he'll be like, oh, this is my, or he'll just be like, oh, hey, how are you? And I'll be like, I'm Kaylee. Like, I'll jump in over him and just say my name to try to get them to do it. It's a real problem when we've met before, which
Oh.
happens for often. Oh, I met you. But to be fair, like, he works in a hospital with 1 million people. So then I also jokingly call him the mayor of Pensacola because it feels like he knows everybody. So it's very easy for me to not remember somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, these are all of my. This is a tangent I didn't mean to go to, all based off of me not cutting my hair. But anyway, words out. If anybody knows a good hair person in Pensacola, please tell me. Number two, if you have thoughts about if my hair's starting to look religious, please let me know. And also let me know if you have an opinion on at what point your hair becomes religious. Also, if your hair is long for your religion, please tell me. I'm fascinated
Yeah, I'm
by it,
curious
as
by
we've
that.
discussed.
Mm. Do you just let your hair grow natural, or do you like curl it or straighten it at all?
I don't really do things with it. I mean, I have a straightener, but I'm not trying to like look cute at work. And it's enough of a struggle to get up early enough to go for a run or do yoga in the morning. So I shan't be putting in any further effort than this. Just
Well, at least it dries nicely. It looks fine. It looks good like
thank
that.
you.
I always have to straighten my hair.
I know, but it's short.
I know it takes me like barely any time, but I always have to straighten it.
Oh, I know. I meant that it's short. Like, of course you have to, because the
Oh,
shorter the hair, the more work it requires.
kind of. Yeah. Now that I'm growing it out, yeah, it's taking a lot more effort. So,
Because otherwise, it's just Wile E. Coyote.
mm-hmm.
Also, this reminds me, I feel like you had a theory, going back to Kayla theories. I feel like you have you have some kind of hair device theory. I don't remember what it is,
I
but
do.
it's tingling the back of my neck.
That's a phrase I haven't ever heard before. Yeah, I do have a theory, amongst other things, but I have a theory about specifically the straightener that I use, but it leads into consumerism essentially. But my theory is that I have this straightener. I'm pretty sure one of our friends gave it, like lent it to me or let me have it, whatever. Regardless, I've had this straightener since like 2015. No,
Ooh.
no, 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 no. High school. 2010. 2010. I graduated in 2014 from college. So this was in high school, at the end of high school. Got this straightener. Have been using it since 2010. So 13 years. And it works like a charm. Does it look pretty? No. Yes.
What brand is this?
I don't know. I'd have to check.
We need to find that out for later.
But here's the thing. I don't know if it matters because my theory is the products back in the day, like even pre our generation, but even the products a decade, 2 decades ago, were built with so much more quality and are long lasting. Like if I buy a straightener today, a brand new one, even a really nice one that's really expensive, I don't think it's going to last me 13 years like this one has because the cost of materials are going up, but people still want a lower price. So they must be reeling some things in quality wise or buying cheaper parts, and I don't feel like they last as long. And not just with straighteners, but everything. Um, I just my yes, I have a strong theory that like fast fashion is in right now, and all this stuff where we want goods quickly and for not too much money, but the cost of doing business has increased, so they're just making it shittier. And that's why my straightener has lasted 13 years because it was from 13 years ago. Isn't that crazy?
That's a long time for a menial hair appliance that was probably like $25.
Yeah, it was under 50 for sure, I'm assuming. And I use it almost every day. I've dropped the thing very often. And there's like hairspray shit, and it's just like it's the cord hasn't like untangled. It is miraculous how incredibly, watch, knock on wood, it's gonna like break or something on me in the next week. But yeah, just made differently back in the day.
That reminds me that I will have to beckon my aunt to get me a photo of her washer and dryer. She is literally using the washer and dryer of my grandparents. I mean,
Wow.
they have to be 50 years old.
And they still work, don't they?
Yeah, when she moves, I think the drum can sometimes get a little jostled, like when she moved all the way down here from Wisconsin. So I think she had to have like somebody just come in and like retighten the drum or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, which I think led to like a whole conversation because the repairman was like, "What ancient relic is this?" But they just keep spinning away.
Hey, it's a thing. Okay, so this leads me down to another theory that we could call maybe a conspira theory because I think that I okay, so leading into like the appliance thing, I saw this commercial on this old time refrigerator, like the first time refrigerators came out, and it was so nice. They had little pull-out drawers and little butter flippers, and the way they moved the ice and they turned the handles, like way nicer than the fridge we have now, like mechanically or user friendly wise. But that got me thinking because I feel like we used to have better technology in the day. And even like conspira theory, Kayla, goes back to like ancient history and all the things they were able to do. And I feel like something happened where some kind of technology got wiped out or is hidden because I feel like as much as we've progressed, there's also things that we look at history that we used to have that we don't have anymore. It's like, let me not go too far down a rabbit hole, but since we're on it, the astronaut that said, or the guy who works for NASA said, oh yeah, we don't have that technology anymore to go to the moon. What? Where'd it go? That's why we haven't been back? Did someone lose it? Like, do you know what I mean?
Delete.
Yeah, that's a whole other rabbit hole, but technology has changed. Whether it's gone backwards or forwards, I can't tell, but something's weird, and I think it all comes down to consumerism, and things aren't made very nicely anymore.
Probably because they're trying to pump them out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Things probably they're shipping from foreign countries, so they probably want them to weigh less. So the quality is going to go down because stuff's going to be more plastic. Also, didn't they talk about this with vehicles at some class somewhere in my life? Planned convalescence. Like, basically around that time in the 50s and 60s, they realized, wait a minute, if we keep making shit like this, that'll last a lifetime. No one's going to buy any more shit.
Yes, and that's the other thing. They don't want you to have products that will last you a lifetime because they want you to keep having to rebuy them.
I know. Like, somehow I hit 2 years on my iPhone and then it takes a giant shit everywhere.
Yeah.
Sorry, Apple. I love you. Don't turn off my camera
Yeah.
if you're listening. But you better fucking not be because I told Siri to plug her ears.
So, that's my theory.
I like that. I like that theory. I don't have a theory as so much as another question. It's like a query.
Ooh, Kaylee's
A question
queries.
theory. Let me set the scene. So Jason and I on the weekend sometimes just like to pick somewhere random to kind of drive,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know, hour and a half away, just to go fart around, get out of our town, whatever, get out of the house. So last weekend we went to, I wonder if I should name them, whatever. We went to Seaside, which is this real quaint. There's a collection of towns over there, but it's these quaint, ritzy, like resort-y towns, but they're not beachy resorty that you think of with the lime green, like not pastel,
Mm-hmm.
primary color, like bullshit and knickknacks. They're like fancy pants towns with pastel colors, and just they're meant to look very idyllic. Watercolor is where they filmed the Truman Show. So if anyone knows what that
Interesting.
is,
Interesting.
yeah. So it's supposed to be just everything very well manicured, and it's just I don't know what kind of architecture it is. Jason could tell you, but the 2-story homes with the front porches and it just cute, coastal, but not cheesy beachy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, so they're fancy pants over there. There's like numerous celebrities that own homes. I think Luke Bryan just sold his house in Rosemary Beach, which is, or Alice Beach, which is over there. I think Reese Witherspoon has a house. I don't know. Anyway, the moral of the story is that there's money out there and fancy pants people go there on vacation. And we just like to go drive and park and walk around. Jason likes the architecture. It's the beaches are beautiful. They keep them pristine. And it's an older beach community, so it's also not like brand new condos, fancy pants. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just nice. And again, the drive out there is pretty, and we just stop at this one place called the Donut Hole and get a muffin or a donut and drive and whatever. So we parked out there, and it was really weird. It was spring break, so we were expecting it to be kind of busy, but this was unbelievable. There were hordes of children, hordes of them. And we're talking like probably middle through high school aged, just free roaming all around. And the streets are there's a lot of biking paths and sidewalks. There's a long biking path that goes down the whole like highway that connects all these little towns. So it is a thing. People will rent bicycles and bop around. So we were just kind of noticing this because usually the places we go are like we're the youngest people there. We tend to like to be around, I don't know, we have a lot in common with old people apparently. So it was already unusual. And then it was unusual in such a ritzy area to have all these kids just, again, flocking and like flooding the streets on their bikes, not paying attention and making me feel like such a grumpy old lady. And then we were going to walk down to the beach, and lo and behold, they had closed all of it off, which, side note, I think is horseshit that any community is able to restrict access to something they don't own.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the ocean. Oh, it pisses me off so badly. I think it depends on where you are in the state. I think that particular county, you're allowed to like own the shore to where the tide line is, which is also horseshit, versus in the community I live in Pensacola, the beach, your ownership ends at the sand dunes, which are like yards and yards and yards away. So any schmuck can walk down the beach. You can't say anything to them.
Okay.
Like you can walk in front of any hotel and whatever. They can't restrict your access to the beach, which is how I believe it should be. Anyway, Seaside has now shut you off. And Jason and I were like, bro, we're not allowed to walk to the sand? And they're like,
what was the reason?
unless you're staying there.
Oh.
So we went and asked a bartender because we're like, what the fuck? And at first the bartender was giving us some major tude. And then I told him, look, bro, we live in Pensacola. We're not vacationing here. We just are bopping around for the day. And then he changed his tune. And he's like, well, what's happening is all the parents that are vacationing here don't want to be around their own children. So they like let them loose on the sidewalks and streets. And they were having major issues with these kids flooding the beaches and just like causing commotion. And, you know, like they are trying to sell a product of people vacationing there. And what had happened is all of these other communities were getting sick of the kids, so they kept restricting access. And then all the kids were funneling into this one beach because it was the last one they could go to.
Wow.
And of course, like, somebody always acts shitty and ruins something for everybody else. But we just started stepping back and watching, and then my question became like, why are kids like this? And is it kids these days? I don't think so. I mean, it's easy to say that as an older generation, like kids these days have no appreciation for anything. But I really think more of it had to do with the socioeconomic status of the kids that were there and just thinking that they could run rampant all over town. I will show you. I took like an iconic photo, which doesn't even do it justice. But outside of the main city, there's county owned public beach accesses that are literally just sidewalks that cut between homes. There's like one every couple blocks. And the county has done that to at least let people like get onto the water. But they are literally like sidewalk width straight down to the water, surrounded by private property that people
Okay.
own. And you can't leave a bunch of bikes and shit. But do the children listen to the sign that says no bikes? No, they do not. And I have a photo of a sign on a fence that says no bikes, and there are at least 100 bikes. I zoomed out as far as I could on my phone to like see the image, but there's just and not even like trying to set them up, just like bikes thrown in the front yards of all of the homes that were surrounding this little access. I told Jason, like, if I lived there, I would start a bike impound. And just like how you can tow a car,
Mm-hmm.
I would tow those kids' shit to like a bike impound lot and make them walk home to their parents and tell them that they broke the rules and then go pay to get your bike out of impound
That would be really smart.
or lose your rental fee. I don't know. It pushed me clear over the edge. And he and I were just baffled. Like, how are these kids being this inconsiderate? It was also really weird because so many of them were riding around with like big Bluetooth speakers and listening to music that I mean, I like, but really foul and really loud, just in public, no shame. And that was my other question is like, where has the shame gone?
All valid questions. Remind me again. So, were they there for spring break or just visiting? Because they weren't locals, right?
I don't think so because not a lot of people live there. I mean, there could be some kids that live local, and there could be some kid. I just don't see because the surrounding communities north of there are a lot more rural and a lot more poor, and I don't really see those families driving down and dropping their kids off and going back home. Like I don't really see that happening so
Mm-hmm.
much. And a lot of these kids look like they were on rental bikes, which is more indicative of a vacation
Mm-hmm.
situation. So I think it probably was more due to spring break and that they were there with families and like mom and dad, which I get wanting to have some kid free time, but we're just letting them go bop about the community. But it's like, then make your kids fucking be like responsible. If you want to act like an adult, like, or if you want to think you're an adult, then act like an adult.
It's crazy how, like, I don't remember not caring that much when we were younger. Of course, we had a little more sense of, we have more of a sense of responsibility and adulting now. So back in the day, we weren't as, we'd throw our bike down, but not like that where there's a sign and we're clearly breaking the rules and being a nuisance. Like the music thing, I'd be like, oh gosh, turn it down. This is like we're upsetting people.
I know. I can't imagine listening to music that's like, fuck you, motherfucker. Like,
Mhm.
we listened to
Oh yeah,
all of that music, but we did so in the shame of our
yeah,
basements or in the car and then turned it down at the red light because you didn't want to bother the people around you.
yes, because we always had the windows down.
I still turn my music down at the
Hmm.
stoplight if it's extremely vulgar because I don't know. I don't want to impose my shit on anybody else. I don't think that's my place in the world.
Yeah, that's what was the age group? Like the range you think?
I want to guess middle to high school. It's hard for me to know ages anymore, but I assume if they're riding around on bicycles
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
they're drinking sodas, like it seemed like middle and high school behaviors.
I mean, you may have hit it on the head with the socioeconomic thing because if it is a situation where they're used to doing what they want or having the means to kind of get away with things, then it kind of probably carries over to any location, even if it's not in their own backyard. And it also they're probably thinking, we're never going to be back here again. It's just our 1 week vacation. Let's just do whatever we want. And who cares what the people think? You know what I'm saying? But that's real
I
shitty.
know. I know. I think too, when we were kids, I mean, I bought my bike. So I wasn't just going to leave it laying on the
Right.
sidewalk where someone could steal it. I think just even having an appreciation for what things
Mm-hmm.
cost, which goes back to if money just seems like it's a never ending resource for you, maybe you don't
Mm-hmm.
care. But I mean, we talked about you guys specifically because I was like, Kayla and Kenny would be unhinged if their child
Oh, yeah.
was this inconsiderate. Like, Kenny is one of the most considerate people I've ever met and just so aware of other
Yeah.
people and just not wanting anyone to be uncomfortable or just not being poopy. I don't even know what the right word is, but
Yeah.
I was like, I just was thinking to myself, like, if Kayla and Kenny's kid just threw their bike on the ground or was driving down the street listening to loud music, even if it was music that you guys listened to at
Yeah.
home, would be like, no, that other people don't want to hear your
Yeah.
shit.
There's a time and a place. Oh, yeah. No, we'd be mortified and then in parent mode, like, no, you don't do that. Pick up your bike. We're going home. No, this is not how you act in public.
Dude, I told Jason, I don't know that we'll have kids, but I was like, if we ever have kids and they did something like that, like playing loud music, I would immediately start dancing embarrassingly. That would be my solution. Like, you do something that I don't think is socially appropriate, I'll show you how I'm going to do something socially inappropriate that bothers you.
I love that because they'd be so embarrassed. They're going to want to turn the music down because they're going to be like, Mom, stop dancing. Or,
I know, be like, oh, I'm sorry, I just like, oh shit, I hear this music and I just gotta move.
oh my God.
You better turn it down or I'm not gonna stop. Like rubbing my ass on my husband. Like, can you just full
Uh-huh.
force? I don't really believe in shaming children, in the traditional
Yeah,
ways,
yeah.
but there has got to be a consequence. There has to be some public rules of decorum to prevent things from being ruined.
Well, right. Like the fact that you couldn't even walk to the beach is ridiculous just because,
I
yeah.
know. And the fact that some like schmuck that paid millions of dollars for their home, which I mean, I'm not feeling that bad for him, but the fact that they have to deal with 50 bikes just laying in their driveway, I'd run over all of them if they blocked me from getting into my
Oh, yeah.
house.
No, that would piss me off too. I would start a bike. What was the word you used? Thank
Impound
you.
lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be our side hustle.
Let's pick it up. Let's do it.
I
That's
know.
crazy.
Like, go live in a fancy town. Anyway, that was. I'll post the picture that I took. It really astonished me, but it just got me thinking, like, larger scale parents and kids. And we've kind of touched on this before. Because sometimes I feel like kids irritate me. I also feel like I really love them. But what I think it's boiled down to is my annoyance, if I feel it, is always at the parent. Like, if there's a baby crying in a movie theater, why did you bring your baby to a movie theater?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. I mean, obviously, there are situations like on an airplane, it's annoying, but it's not their fault. But there's circumstances where it's like, why did you put them in the situation? Or if a kid is acting up, or not acting up, but doing something like what you said this weekend, if I was there and I saw the kid and their parent and the parents doing nothing, perfect example. People will come to my business and it's in a model home and they will let their kids jump up and down on the furniture, take stuff down, move things around, bang on the doors, and I'm in an awkward position where this is my place of work that I have to keep looking a certain way, and you're not telling your kids to get off the couch with their dirty shoes and like whip the pillows around. It's like, yes, the kid is the one being annoying and causing the trouble, but it's obviously a reflection of your parenting skills because why aren't you saying anything? So I've had to say, like, hey, like, don't do that. Like, I've had to directly discipline the child, or not discipline them, because that's where I get awkward because I don't know what to say, but it's like, hey, buddy, you can't do that. Like, come back over here. And then I look at the mom or dad like, aren't you going to say something? Why am I saying something to your kid?
Have you ever tried saying to the parent, like, hey, can you
Yeah,
whip that into
I think
shape?
once. Typically, when I say something directly to the kid, because it's something where I have to say something pretty quickly, or something's gonna break or go down like pretty fast. Because we're in a home with a bunch of furniture and like decorations, and so if I give it a little bit and the parents aren't saying anything, I will directly jump over to the kid. And then if the kid doesn't listen to me and the parents also don't jump in, then I'll say something like, "Hey, do you mind getting little Timmy, and he can come in here. Maybe I can print some paper off and he can draw or do some crayons work." And I'm like, hello, what is wrong with you? I don't know.
I know. It's not, it's really a lot of it is what's wrong with
Yeah.
parents these days,
Yeah.
more so than anything else. And do you think that your feelings towards like your patience or tolerance towards some of that stuff has changed? I mean, there's got to be. If I had a kid, I'm sure my perspective on some level would change, or I would think my tolerance would go up. But I don't know. It could be the other way to be like, I'm not letting my kid do this shit. What are you like? Why are
Well,
y'all?
here's what I feel as I'm pregnant. We're getting into about to raise a child. I feel like my tolerance is going to increase at home because as much as I'd like to keep the house perfectly clean and no crap on the walls and no spit up on the floor, it's going to happen, and I have to deal with the constant crying or yelling or just the constant noise. So I think my tolerance will go up at home, but I think my tolerance will be heightened at a level where I'm not going to take as much in public. Because if our kid was running around, jumping on our couch, throwing pillows, I'd be like, all right, be careful. Like, you want to have a seat and eat some lunch? And then if they don't, then okay. Like, I'm going to keep an eye on them, but whatever. But if we're out in a model home or public, get get your ass over here and come and sit down, please, because this is not appropriate behavior for someone's place of business. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
But in general, I feel like my my interactions with children have changed because when I was younger, I don't know how to interact with kids. I've never nannied, I've never babysitted. I don't really want to be around people's kids. That's changed now that I'm older and also now about to have a baby, but I still feel sometimes like I don't know how to interact with children because it's just like never been my thing. So of course it'll be different with ours, but I feel awkward sometimes when we're not in a situation where I feel like they're doing something bad. It's just a normal scenario and I'm just like, "Hey, little Timmy, I like your shirt. What's your shirt say?" And then they say something I can't understand. I'm like, uh-huh. And I just don't know what to say. And then I look at the parents awkwardly, like, I don't know what to say to your kid anymore.
Number one, I like that every time you talk about your kid, it's Timmy, and it's not just this podcast. This has definitely happened
Really?
before in life. Oh yeah, I don't know anyone else that would call a little like an example of a kid Timmy, except for you. Two, I think you hit the nail on the head. Well, at least correct me if I'm wrong, but what I hear you saying, well, okay, I did grow up. I'm an older sibling, so I had younger siblings that were kids, and then I babysat. But even aside from that, I still feel awkward sometimes interacting with kids. But I've realized I only feel awkward if I have don't know the parents. So that's like a
Mm-hmm.
weird situation. Even if the parents that I know are around, I feel like they're judging my interactions. So that makes me uncomfortable. It's not the kid,
Uh-huh.
it's always the adult humans around me that I feel like are judging what I'm doing or saying. And I am hyper aware, probably made up in my head on some level, but I don't think all levels because I don't have kids. So I feel like we've talked about this too. I feel like I'm having to overcompensate to prove like just because I don't want kids or I don't have kids in my life doesn't mean I think that they're warty toads. So I feel like I'm having to show parents like I'm down, your kids aren't annoying, like, and it's not true of everybody because there's people that I'm closer with that I trust to know me well enough to know that I am not annoyed with their
Mm-hmm.
children or I like their children. Like It's cool to see them grow up, all of those types of things. But it's always going back to the adults. Like anytime I feel any hesitancy or awkwardness, it's because I feel like they're watching me and judging me. And if I were by myself, it would be probably not. Because if a 3-year-old, like they don't go, oh, that was stupid.
That's probably where it stems from for me, because it's just, I feel like if I say something to the little kid, oh, the kid's not going to care nor remember this. So if I was alone or babysitting or whatever, then I think I would feel a little bit better. But because the parent's there, I get in my head like, am I talking like a baby? Do they not like this? Or is he not allowed to, have a sucker if I offer him one? It's just like, I just don't know what they expect and what they are doing as raising their children. And so I get it all in my head about what I say. And then especially when I can't understand what the kid is saying, which happens quite a bit. The parents are going to either make something up or they understand their babble enough to just respond. And I'm like, oh yeah, cool. And then I look at the parents like, I'm sorry, I don't know how to continue this conversation with your child. I'm so awkward.
I feel that. I need to let go of my like overcompensating problem, because it does ruin things for me, and then it makes me edgy. But it makes me really thankful for my in-laws. Shout out Roxanne. Because I know it's totally fine if Mason's in here like running around like a banshee, I can tell him no without them being like, we don't use that word. Or, like everyone has some like fucking philosophy. Which goes back to just being like, if I clearly have good intentions. I'm not trying to ruin your child. I also sometimes think like, I don't know, humans have been procreating for hundreds of years. Like, not all of this can be brand new.
Yeah, like the parent philosophies type of thing. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Not. I mean, probably a lot of it's like recycled stuff, but sometimes more, you'll hear stuff or you'll see stuff on like Instagram, just people with their weird shit that they're posting on there. And it's like, I think it's okay.
Yeah, I think it goes back to, for me, I'm just thinking about it. I just have not had very many interactions in my life with young children, which is why I feel awkward. It's just like when we first started this podcast, or when you first meet someone new, it's like the beginning is a little awkward, or you're just trying to figure out how to interact. And then, because I'm just thinking, it happens all the time in my office when kids are sitting there and it looks like they're handing me something. And I'm very ignorant with this, as in child interactions. Everyone who is a mother or has baby skills, don't judge me. But I'm like, what do you want me to do with it? Do you want me to take it? Do you want me to say, oh my God, it's a cool toy? What if you do offer it to me? Do I take it and then give it back to you? Because I can't keep it. It's something that it's yours. And it's just like, how do you interact with that? Now, when it comes to our baby, I'm sure they're going to do that. At that point, I'll figure it out and I will know. And then later when that happens again, I'll understand. But right now I have no experience with that. So I'm like, thanks. Yeah. Again, I'm holding your thing now that I have to give back to you before you leave. So I'm looking at the parents like, okay, I'll just set it right here for now and then just take it. I don't know. I'm so unfamiliar with how to just interact.
I'll be curious. You're going to need to like take notes. So I'm going to be curious if these interactions stay weird when you don't know the parent.
Yeah, that's true.
Like you might feel a little more comfortable of, okay, I have done this before, but I wonder if some of the cringe will still exist because parents are weird.
Yeah, that may be valid. I think it'll definitely at least decrease a little bit. I hope.
Because it's not, I just still don't think what you're doing is, I think if you took the parents out of the room, I don't think you'd be half as uncomfortable.
Maybe.
And you're at work. All that's
yeah,
weird
I gotta
too.
like be in a certain box and have my work face on and try to get through the process of doing what I'm trying to do with the adults, but while also not entertaining, but yeah, it's just a whole.
Or managing their shitty parenting if their kids like destroying your house.
Yeah.
I also have nothing against high energy
No.
children. Again, my nephew has really high energy and he's hilarious, but his parents are awesome and he goes outside. You know, no one's offended when we're like, let's go outside and do this.
Or if it's happening and you can't really control them, that's a whole other thing too. But at least acknowledge it and apologize, or at least like acknowledge that you know what's happening. Even if you can't control your child and it's just, we got to get through it, then we got to get through it. But it's the ones that don't acknowledge it and think it's fine that piss me off.
Destruction of property is a problem. That was an issue at Starbucks. There would be parents that would come with their kids and they would, you know, like there's gravel landscaping. Their kids would take handfuls and like throw the gravel around and just make everything a mess. Or I'm not talking babies. I'm talking old enough to clean up after themselves. Kids would just mash muffin everywhere. And then their parents would just get up and go.
Oh, wow.
And then, you know, if you're whatever, keeping your kid entertained or they're high energy or they want to mess with the rocks, whatever, if they're not like throwing them at cars, but how do you not have a responsibility to mirror conscious human behavior to your children and say, let's clean this up before we leave? Now, if your kids, I mean, there's obviously exceptions. If your kid's having like a full-blown meltdown and you just can't, but I mean, I'm talking about people that they did this shit every Sunday. It wasn't, it's just, oh, well, someone's going to clean it up because that's their job because they work here. And it's like, this is not normal customer wear and tear. So the episode, or the title of this episode should be, Why Are Parents So Shitty? It's like, it's not me. It's you. It's not your children. It's your parenting.
It's going to be...
I know it's not easy. I know. And I know me not having kids and talking about it to people, if they're listening that have kids, are probably like, you don't know what you're talking about. What? Fine. I maybe don't have as much empathy, but I still think that generally to live in a world where we can have nice things and be in public, you shouldn't fuck it up for other people. I feel like those are good life lessons for your kids. Like, your freedom to do what you want extends up into the point that it affects somebody else, and that's where it stops. I think that was like basic shit we learned in our social studies class in high school. Like, don't impose your weird shit on everybody. Or if you make a mess, then clean it up. Like, making messes is fine, but pick it up after.
Yeah. Maybe it's a manners thing. It was so distilled in the generations before us and then us, and maybe it's just dissipated slightly.
I know, it's weird. And I know it's not gone everywhere, obviously. But I just think it's goofy. And I feel like there's way more spaces for kids to be now. I mean, everybody's got kids at the brewery, and I think it's great. They're perfect spaces for that. There's a lot of outside space. There's usually green space. Kids can run around. I mean, there's live music. Our friends will go with them, and their kids love dancing, and they love the live music. It's great. I love that there's somewhere we can have adult conversations. We can hang out with their kids. Everyone can get out of the house. I think all of those things are fantastic. Agreed. But I just don't understand some of these other ones where it's the entitlement. That's what it is. Everything just boils down to entitlement. And if your parents are entitled and crappy to be around, then like your offspring tend to be crappy to be around. And I don't know why we want to live in a world where everyone's being a turd.
Well, yeah, that's what it boils down to. It'll shall be interesting as we come into this next chapter of our lives where we're the parents, and there's going to be times where I'm sitting there like, oh my God, our child is causing a scene and I can't do anything about it, and feeling guilty. But again, it's the acknowledgement, and you know when like you see a parent struggling and it's like they feel bad, like they're trying their best. It's the ones that are,
and this isn't This isn't
No,
babies,
yeah. No, no, yeah.
toddlers, where there's like tantrum meltdown. That shit you just can't
Yep.
avoid. I still think if your kid's having like a screaming meltdown in the middle of a movie theater, that you leave the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just don't watch the movie
Yeah.
anymore.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna leave. Yeah.
I mean, that seems fair. But, grocery store, I've seen all those meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
Airplane, it's like,
You can't do anything about it. Yeah.
whatever. There's nothing you can do about that. But when you have, like I had one time, an 8-year-old kid just sitting there on the plane, like bashing their hand into the window the whole ride. I mean, I told myself, I was like, let me just give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe like they've got some neurocognitive stuff going on that I can't
Mm-hmm.
see with my plain
Mm-hmm.
eyeballs. But if this kid doesn't have any type of anything going on and this is just bad behavior, what are we doing?
Yeah. Wow.
It was so bizarre. And I think I'm like tuned in well enough to know if something was like a nervous tick versus I just want to bang on this because no one's going to tell me I
Yeah.
can't.
Well, and I always feel like that. I could be totally wrong, but sometimes I feel like that is their way of saying like I want attention. So I'm gonna cause a scene to get attention from my parents because they're not giving them enough, which is sad because it's so common. I feel like these days with all the distractions in our lives, like I'm guilty of that. I really have to be conscious when our baby comes to not be like on my phone as much and just there's so many things out in the world to get distracted by.
I know. I'm excited to hear more of your journey, especially because you didn't grow up a like kid
Mm-hmm.
person.
Obviously.
I mean, which I don't think you have to be like a
Right.
kid person growing up to be a good mom,
Yeah.
obviously. But I think it's interesting because there's some people I know, kid
Yeah.
people, just, and they have known their whole lives that they wanted kids, which is funny because I thought I knew my whole life that I wanted kids. But it's, I think it just makes me more excited
I'm excited too.
because you're going to
Mm-hmm.
grow into it.
Yeah.
And obviously, you guys consciously made a decision that you guys wanted to have a family. Um, and you're both good people. So I know you have good children. I wonder if they're going to have any, if you're going to end up with like a little ADHD sprinkled in there.
We feel that one of them is going to be super calm and nice and a little nerdy, and the other one's going to be a stubborn bull that's off the walls. Because that's like both of our personalities. If you combine them and split them into the two things, I feel like one of them's gonna be like an angel, but kind of nerdy and shy and whatever, and the other one's gonna be just stubborn and just wild. We'll see though. I can't wait.
I don't think you guys, neither of y'all are super hyper.
No, no,
Like squirrely. Was Kenny a squirrely kid?
I don't think so.
I can't imagine that.
No, so maybe not the completely bouncing off the walls.
I don't know. There's a few family members that of y'all's that I can think of that you could come through the totem
Could skip
pole.
a generation or something.
Just like the genes are there. They're just not turned on yet. I'm also feeling self-conscious that saying the word totem pole was cultural appropriation.
I didn't even catch that. I didn't. Yep.
This is not related. Do you ever feel so exhausted by all the things you're not supposed to say and do and talk about?
Every day.
The nuanced ones?
Every day.
I mean, there's some clear lines in the sand where it's like, obviously not. Also not an accidental temptation either.
Right. There's a clear line, but there's some things where it's just I've got to think a lot these days, and it's exhausting.
I know. That also ties into parenting, where I feel like there's 1,000 rules.
Yes, there's 1,000 rules on Instagram and TikTok and from your relatives and from family and friends, but it really just boils down to like what you feel like you want to do and feel comfortable with, because there's so many things. I mean, even during my pregnancy, people have told me stuff, and I'm like, well, I'm still doing that, or okay, it just you gotta take it on a person by person basis.
It ties into what we talked about last week. There's too much information
Mm-hmm.
available. You can't download all of that and then consume it, which goes back to what I was saying. Like, babies have been kept alive for literally hundreds of years without the 100 million gadgets that you quote unquote need from this TikTok
Mm-hmm.
post or this Instagram reel. Yeah, there's some like modern conveniences that I'm sure are
For sure.
fantastic, but I don't think like we're gonna all
Yeah.
die. Just to let the pressure off of, like, do what's important to you and do what feels right, but take a step back and like look at the bigger picture every once in a while. I feel like is healthy for people on every front, with eating and lifestyle and raising children and having a relationship or work. Like, I don't know who told it to me, but my favorite principle is the 80-20
Mm-hmm.
principle. Like, 80% of the time, hit your goal, hit the mark, do the ideal, and then realize that 20% of the time things are going to fudge a little bit, and 80% is
Mm-hmm.
perfect. Like, stop making 100 be the perfect number and the
Mm-hmm.
metric. Let 80 be the goal and recognize that 20, there's some room to wiggle, because I think the perfectionism is just as dangerous, but much more
Yes,
silent.
because that will run you into the ground, or it'll run you completely off the cliff, and then you'll go to completely the opposite direction. Instead of 100% trying to hit your goals, you will 100% not try to go for them at all, because it's so exhausting. That's why when we try to
Yeah.
go hard in the gym and we're like, starting Monday, everything perfect, sleep, eat, diet, workout. It's just like, oh my God, we do it for a week and then we fall off completely because it's too much. So yeah, there's definitely like a balance you got to find with like doing the things that you find a priority, doing what feels right, and then still going out every once in a while and having some beer and pizza. Not right now, but when I'm not
I
pregnant.
know. Dude, last thing, and then we'll do some feedback. I Jason showed me this picture randomly the other day of someone I think he used to know. She's in her like 60s, maybe 70s, and got into like bodybuilding and is super ripped as a gray-haired woman. And I by all means feel good for you. But I told Jason, I said, I want to look like that underneath the layer of beer and croissants that I know I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to eat. I want to like work out and have functional muscle and be healthy and feel like I can lift things and do stuff and participate in life. Fuck, we went for a 20-mile bike ride this weekend. Like, that's a leisurely activity, or to go for a
Mm-hmm.
10-mile hike and I wake up the next morning without being sore. I'm happy to have that level of activity in my life and fitness, and I really appreciate that my body lets me do it. But there's no way in hell that I will ever eat to the point that I look
Right.
shredded.
Yeah.
Like, I'll have six-pack abs, but you ain't gonna, maybe you can like feel them if you like
Yeah.
push in. But I am not willing to stop participating in the food and drink that I love to look a
Well,
certain way. And if you want to, fine. But I love food and I love beer. And I am not going to live a life where I feel guilty about everything I eat
yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, because that's a downward spiral. I think you got to live your life and take care of yourself in ways that you can live long enough to enjoy it, but also enjoy it.
I know, 80-20, man. 80% of the time, I think I eat pretty healthy and do pretty good and pack lunches and be responsible. And then 20% is
Some
unhinged.
days you count your blueberries, and some days you have multiple beers and just the blueberries.
I know. If we ever have kids, I want them to not feel like they have to
Yeah,
be perfect.
same.
I want them to be like, we're going to have discipline and we're going to be kind to people and we're going to think about things outside of our bubble and we are going to have donuts sometimes.
That's the philosophy of my parenting, I feel like. I love it.
I'm so excited. Keep taking notes so we can
Yes.
keep sharing. And then maybe as you learn, you can be like, Kaylee, I think you're off. And then I can be like, oh, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
again, your opinions can change. We are not locked into these statements. We are just adults traveling through life, learning as we go, and sharing our experiences and our current day opinions. Because, yeah, I probably said some things where in 3 years from now, as a mother, I'm going to be like, what the hell was I thinking? But that's the
I
beauty
know.
of growing and learning.
I know. It's true. It's true, which is why we're doing this, because if I am not allowed to ask questions, I die a little on the inside. Also, okay, listener feedback. I don't have a ton of things to feedback on this week. Ooh, we got some more
Oh
spam
gosh.
voicemails. I didn't save them to play, but our internet or our website designer called us again.
And
Yeah, left us another
oh,
same
lovely.
exact voicemail about creating a website for us. So that was great. We got some other spam from somebody else. I don't remember who it was. It was really funny. I get so excited anytime there's anything in our like public email. Anyway, nothing too interesting to report. I did pose a question to the people of TikTok asking what they do with Q-tips. And I did get one response that was fairly entertaining. Do you think you can pull it up?
I see it, and I mean, we can repost this, but Sandy Bedingfield on TikTok. Okay.
Yeah. Sandy, thank you. She's been really engaged with
I
our
love
stuff. She sent me a video about something that looked like it may have been related to some right-wing conspiracy theories that I did not open. I don't know if I'll be endorsing all of Sandy's videos moving forward, but I liked this one, so I thought we would share it. And I asked her, and she said we
Perfect.
could
All
share
right,
it.
let me pull it up.
All right, y'all. The question is, how do you Q-tip? I do two things. One, I take a shower. When I get out and my ears have water in them, I use the dry tip to clean my ears out. Then two, I've got this OCD thing. I don't like sticking my fingers in my nose to clean out my boogers. So you use a Q-tip for your ears, and I clean out my nose with a Q-tip. And I go through several. Well, about 7, 8, something like that. Twice a day, one at night, one in the morning. God bless y'all. How do you Q-tip? Stitch, do it. Comment. Let me know.
Okay, Sandy, that was incredible. But I've never heard about the Q-tip in the nose thing. How do you feel about that?
I have a couple follow-up
Okay,
questions.
ask, because I'm also intrigued.
Okay, as someone that does social work math, I'm having a hard time understanding. I use once or twice a day, and that equals
But
7.
I thought she said I go through about 7 or 8 twice a day. I hope
So is
I
that
don't
14?
know, but if that is, then you may have some allergies or something going on.
Q-tip needs to give Sandy a stock if she's using 14 Q-tips a
I'm
day.
so curious. I've never thought to stick a Q-tip up my nose.
I see the logic of like getting boogies out. I like to use my finger so I can feel what I found and then put it in a piece of toilet paper, or do it in the shower so I can wash it down the drain. I also like to see what I've discovered.
Sometimes if I feel like I'm sick, I'll blow my nose in the Kleenex and take a peek, just because I feel like the color can tell you things about whether you're actually sick or not. But that's about the extent of it.
I look at my boogers in my Kleenex every time. I think I also look at my wipes.
Well, okay. I think you kind of have to, because you got to make sure you know when you're done, right?
That's true. That's true. But I think I also am looking for
Oh.
science, not just for
That's valid.
completion.
That'll tell you a lot.
I know, it's
Did
interesting.
you know there's 7 different categories of poop, and it'll tell you how your digestive system is working?
I mean, I know there's definitely things about having little rabbit turds.
There's like 7 scientifically proven categories and what they all mean, and it's really funny and fascinating. Maybe I'll find the
Can we break this down?
next episode, yes, and then we will put a graphic up.
Yeah, I want to learn about the 7 different types of poop. I'm not going to ask you to know them right now. I'm sure that's not something you've memorized. But going back to Sandy, thank you. You had another person that does the dry Q-tip in the wet
Yes,
ear.
thank you, Sandy, for validating me.
So I've never tried that, but I'm feeling curious about it. I think I might. Honestly, the nose thing just floored me. I don't think anything about it is gross or weird. It never occurred to me to do that.
Literally, I've just never thought to ever do that.
I'm afraid I'd like fall and it would go in too far or something.
I feel like if they're...
I don't think I'd like the feeling of cotton in my nose.
Like if they're hard boogers, how do you get them out with a Q-tip? You need like a fingernail.
Maybe they're soft and from the shower.
Maybe.
We almost had another mic catastrophe.
We're still learning over here.
I know. Anyway, that was my favorite one. So thank you, Sandy. Keep them coming. Love it. All right, my friend. Thank you for the chats, the laughs, the bump dates, the conspiracy theories.
Oh, gosh. More to come.
The non-judgment of all my questions and concerns for humanity.
Okay. Next Tuesday, turkeys, come back to the Turkeyverse and hang out with us.
Oh my god. Thank you to all the turkeys in the Turkeyverse. Tell your friends. Bring them along. All right. Well, thank you. I love you.
Love you. Bye.
I love you. Bye.